Entrepreneurs aren't born, they're brewed. You are now listening to the Entrepreneur Podcast with your host, Adam McChesney. Let's grow!
Welcome to the Entrepreneur Podcast. I am your host, Adam McChesney, and I want to thank you for being here today. If you're listening, please be sure to subscribe to the show and leave us a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. We would love for you to share this on social media by tagging me and our guests, and this way we can get this out to as many people as possible. Today, we have another great episode lined up for you. My guest and I originally met back in December of 2021 as a part of a business coaching community that we are both a part of. And when I met him, he was still working another job while beginning to really build his business on the side. The transformation, though, that I've seen from this particular guest since then in literally all areas of his life is impressive, to say the least. So I'm really excited for this episode. I look up to this guy for everything that he stands for. I respect him, as many do, as a husband, father, and entrepreneur. He's an incredible golfer, much better than me, and one of the hardest working people that I know. You are going to get so much value, inspiration, and motivation from this episode, and I can't wait. My guest today is Josh Spradlin. He is the owner of Alliance Engineering and Consulting, where he resides in Tennessee with his wife, Myka, who also runs the business with him, and his 3 kids. Josh, welcome to the show.
What's up, buddy? Thank you for having me.
It has been a minute. Pumped. It has been a minute. You've been making moves, running around, and I'm just excited to learn a little bit more about your story and have you share that with the audience today.
Yeah, dude, happy to do it, man. It's crazy to think that it's not even been quite a year since, we went full into this business. I mean, God, and it's amazing that it feels like it's been 10 years. I mean, it's just been an amazing journey. And, what's been better about it is being able to walk the journey alongside people like yourself, as an encouragement, as a friend, and just having that support group, along the way. So I'm thankful for you too, man.
Well, I appreciate that, man. It definitely helps. It helps with, like, obviously the aspects of the business, but I think it's everything like other than business as well that makes us push forward and realize that we're like not crazy or not alone, especially like me right now, like getting ready to have my first kid, just like the conversations that we were talking about before. But, every time I talk with people from the group, it's like, yeah, business, we talk about that from time to time, but like it's the other aspects that it doesn't matter what's going on in business, that you have that support system. Like, for example, you leaving your job and going full time with this, obviously business was important, but there's a lot of other factors that go into it. So I think it's crucial. And when we talk about a little bit about your story, I would love for you to kind of give us the Cliff Notes version, and we'll kind of dive in from there of like, what has your journey been? I know you've been an entrepreneur before just this new endeavor. So walk to us kind of about your journey and your career thus far.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I guess I'll probably go back to 06, 07. At the time, I was living in, Las Vegas. I graduated from Virginia Military Institute in 2001. And I guess, when I moved out to Vegas, I was really just trying to, seek things that I felt like the world was telling me were important, like going out and partying and drinking, making good money. I mean, I was doing civil site design and sales out there. And at the time, from 03 to 06, Las Vegas was just, it was completely blowing up. I mean, people were literally lining up and sleeping out overnight to buy a house in a piece of desert where the, developers had just set up a trailer and maybe had a little bit of infrastructure in. And so, for me at the time, I was in my mid-20s, and it kind of set the wrong expectations on, what business is really like, man. I mean, you go through that and you're like, well, this is easy. I don't understand what everybody's problem is. But then in 06, I moved back here because I rededicated my life to Christ and moved back to Tennessee, because what I realized in that time period was I was having all the fun in the world. I mean, I'd gotten into golf. I was in Vegas. I mean, Lord, man. I mean, what can I say? Enough said. So I think I was probably playing golf 6 to 7 days a week. And I was doing everything that the world taught me should make me happy. Mm-hmm. And, what I learned from that experience was all that stuff's fun, but it's just not fulfilling.
Yeah.
And it leads you down a road that is just not good for your life. And so I kind of compare it with my kids. I compare it to, eating candy versus meat and potatoes. That was just candy. It's unfulfilling and doesn't provide you what God really has in store for you. So moved back here in 07 or 06. My wife and I started dating. We got married in 07. I started building houses. I moved back here to build houses. I thought it would be, they were just flying off the shelf out there. So why not here? Mm-hmm. They were way more expensive out there. So getting into that out there was too difficult. So moved back to Nashville. Myka and I got settled, started building houses, and then 08 hit. The recession hit. We had just had our first child, David. Myka and I got married in June 2nd of 07. David was born like right before our first anniversary in 08, and that recession hit, and it changed everything. That was like the first time in my life that I really encountered fear. Up until that point, I'd had a great job, made really good money, and then we were broke in the whole 5-6 houses that we had started were just sitting. And so, at that point, there's really nothing else to do but just try to survive. And, I like to tell this story. So I had a friend who was in banking. He was trying to help us out. He said, look, I've got a guy that's one of my clients. He's in insurance restoration, and they do water mitigation and all that stuff. And he said, I'll make the introduction. Maybe you can do some work for him. Just maybe coming in after the fact and doing the construction part. So met him. We kind of started doing business. He was sending me small leads, dude. At one point, I was doing a drywall patch for a toilet leak. And I was sitting there thinking, and dude, I hate drywall, man. But I was sitting there thinking to myself, I'm a civil engineer sitting here doing drywall, and nothing wrong with it. It's great work. It's just not what I had envisioned for my life. And that same day, I remember asking the lady there that owned the house, hey, is there anything else I can do for you? I ended up putting a bed together for her. I was just trying to make ends meet.
Yeah.
And so we ended up taking that and grew that company to, I think we were probably doing between 3 and 4 million at the time, which, if you move that forward to today, is probably 10 to 12 million a year. Had 30 employees, made a ton of mistakes. I'm talking about, I look back on some of the stuff I did building that business, and I'm like, wow, what was I thinking? Especially after you spend a year in TCC and you build your mission statement and your core values. And if I could go back and smack myself, I would. Mm-hmm. But we were fortunate enough. We sold the business to an investment group because it really wasn't what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. So we'd started a couple other side businesses, and we kind of sold those off too. But we kept this company, Alliance, the entity. We kept it alive. We did not sell it. We just sold the goodwill of that business, the book of business, and all the equipment and stuff that we'd acquired. And so in 14, I went to work for another firm. It was primarily in water and wastewater, but I kept this business on the side. And, over the years, I had a guy reach out to me in 14, and we just started doing a couple of projects. He basically said, hey, man, you're a licensed engineer. Would you mind looking at this residential structure and doing a, structural review on it? And I said, sure. So, we weren't doing a lot. It was a project here and a project there, but over the years, it just started to grow and grow and grow until it got to the point where it was actually impacting my performance at the job that I was at. Coincidentally, that same last year when I joined TCC. And, we had to make the decision. I sat down with Mike Claudio, as you know the story, and he was just like, dude, what, Mike, man, I won't cuss on the podcast, but he was like, what the F are you doing?
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, what do you mean? He said, you know exactly what I mean. Why have you not gone into business full in on that? And so the amazing thing about God is, man, once we decided to make that jump, which was very difficult, because I did enjoy where I was at, but it wasn't what I wanted to do anymore. Mm-hmm. Once I made that jump, the amount of business and just unbelievable things that unfolded before us were amazing. But it took everything that I'd gone through in the 15 years prior, the coaching that I had with TCC win rate, to really make it work. And dude, has it worked? But looking back now at everything that God put me through, that I put myself through the mistakes that I made, looking for other ways, other escapes to try to find and hide from the things that I needed to tackle. When I look back through it now, I'm just like, it's amazing to see the path that I took and the things that God used in my life to prepare me for what's going on now.
That's powerful. I think, I knew obviously that you were working somewhere, and I knew the back half of that story, right? I didn't know. I mean, I know because I've heard you talk about it, but I never heard you actually speak about it. That transition of being in Vegas, going back and kind of working for somebody, and then building this other business, growing that, having all the things. I think what you see now and what I see just knowing kind of all this stuff is all of these things obviously happening for a bigger purpose and a reason, but the culmination of kind of like the perfect timing around a lot of this stuff, whether it seemed that way at the time or not. And then you just being at the position to be able to fully take action and move things forward at a rapid pace. So I'm literally talking, I mean, you're just saying like, you haven't even been doing this full time now for a year since you made that decision. And the waves that you've made, I mean, is insane. So I just wanted to say kudos to you, man.
Well, thanks, dude. But, and a lot of the guys that I talk with, they're like, dude, how did you do that in a year? And I'm like, bro, hold on a second. This hasn't been a year. Yeah. Now, listen, I there's one thing that a good ability that I have is to give a vision to people and to sell, and I don't want this to come across the wrong way, but to get them to understand that vision and get excited about that vision. It's just, I'm good at it. But if it wasn't for the things that I went through over the last 15 years of knowledge that I gained through, they're either getting just completely beat up. I mean, my eye still twitches occasionally. From anytime anybody says, oh, wait, it just starts twitching. I mean, it's doing it right now. But going through that, going through the place that I worked at for, 8 or 9 years, 8 years, which I poured a lot into that and worked extremely hard there. And I learned a lot from that group too. All that prepared me for where I am now, and then moving in with win rate with people like yourself. And I don't want to leave anybody off, but I'll name the coaches, but, working with Clifton and working with Mike and having people around me like Sam and Les and all these guys that would message you and encourage you. That's really where it all came from. And dude, I don't take any of the, I guess, I just don't take any of the credit for it because, there's a Bible verse that I always look to that, it says that God knitted us together in our mother's womb. So if he created us, then how can I even boast in the abilities that I have? So it's all been in his timing. It's all the glory to him. And dude, we've got a mission statement to be undeniable and a powerful force for Christ, which is uncommon for any business, let alone an engineering firm. And we stand solid on it, and I don't hide from it, obviously. And people love it.
I love it. It's powerful. And it's you, right? It's everything that the culmination of all those years, blood, sweat, and tears, all that stuff. So I love it. I'm a huge fan. Talk to us a little bit. We like to refer to it on the Entrepreneur Podcast as ingredients. Talk to us about 3 things that have made you successful over your journey thus far.
Well, first and foremost, Christ, period. End of story. Because in the way I put this, and I have to be careful because not everybody's relationship with their father or mother is as healthy as mine is. But, I was fortunate enough to have a really solid relationship with my mother and father. So my outlook on the Lord is the same way as it is with my dad, in that when I get off of his path or his plan, or step outside of where I should be, he puts me in line, just like any good father should. And so, but some people don't have that type of relationship with their parents. So making that connection isn't as easy for them. It was for me. And so I look back and see all the corrections along the way for poor decisions that I made, first and foremost. I think secondly, fitness. Fitness was a huge thing, because I think where your mind goes, your body goes, and where your body goes, your mind goes, and they work in tandem. So, back in 2017, I always like to say that when Myka got pregnant, I got pregnant with her. Which, dude, you haven't been you didn't do that, man. I'm extremely proud of you, man. Dude, I put on a solid 50 pounds every time she did. Myka's petite, she's little anyway. So, but it's around 16 or 17, I got extremely serious about getting fit, losing weight, and not just losing weight, but putting muscle on, which, once you get into your 40s, man, getting huge just isn't what I want to do anymore. But making that transformation, making that transition was huge, because as you know, and anybody who knows me know, I have way too much energy. So and you know this too, I'm not full of it. Like if I wake up at 2 a.m., I usually get up. Now I'm working on getting better at that.
Yeah.
Because I realize the importance of sleep.
Yeah. But
if I don't work out in the mornings, the energy that I have comes out in all the wrong ways. It comes out through anxiety. It comes out through, I've seen it move into, physical issues, your stomach, whatever. So I have to do the fitness and not just work out, but eat healthy, eat clean. There's too much sugar, too much bad eating, which just translates into a whole lot of mental issues, whether it's anxiety plus the weight gain that occurs. So fitness definitely is second on that. I think third was really, I would say if I were to rank the third thing, it's going to be putting people around me who make me better. Whether it's joining a coaching group, the accountability is huge. And I think it's even bigger now because of where we are as a society. There's so much input from so many different areas, social media, TV. Lord, if you watch TV, you think the whole world's going to explode tomorrow. Sorry, man, I had to put a little country into that one. But, it's there's so much input from so many different areas that it's very easy to get going down the wrong path and try too many different paths. The thing that helped me with, and it's going to be different for everybody, but the thing that helped me the most, I think about surrounding myself with people that help me be accountable and people that encourage me, is I have a lot of wasted energy. Like I bet I've chased so many different shiny objects in my life. I've lived 2 lifetimes in 45 years. I'll be 45 in May. I should be 90 right now because of all the crap that I've there's a shiny object. Let's go chase that. Let's go chase that. And so you run yourself in circles and you never get to fully finish things that you start. And so surrounding myself with people that make me better, that push me, and continuing to do that. And I can push them too. I mean, taking the viewpoint of serving other people, and then them trying to beat you by serving you more is just a beautiful thing to watch. And that I think is what's been so great about win rate. It's been so great about, we were talking about trainers earlier. A lot of people think hiring a personal trainer is expensive, and it is. But what is it costing you to not have one?
Yep. Opportunity costs. Yeah.
So I think those three things probably come to mind most, but most importantly, it's Christ, because if you don't have that guiding light, you're lost in the dark, man.
Yeah. No, I love those ingredients. I think it represents you well, and those are all things that have helped contribute to where you're at today. And more importantly, where you've been along the way as well, and the progress that has been made, which kind of leads to the next part, where I would love to know if you could share one lesson with an entrepreneur. Let's say that entrepreneur is either starting brand new, or they've been doing this for a while, but they feel stuck and they're looking to save years worth of mistakes. What's that one lesson that you've learned throughout your journey?
I think, number one, realizing that what you see on TV, what you see on social media is not reality. In reality, everybody is broken. Everybody has walls up, pretending like everything's great. And it's not. It's not perfect. It's messy. There will be huge setbacks. There will be huge failures. But there'll also be huge wins. And there's going to be small wins that you won't even recognize if you don't take the time every morning, and I do this, go through a complete thankfulness list and be thankful for the things that you do have and the things that have happened. Like, Mike makes fun of me, as do a lot of people, but I've got a book about this thick, and it's 365 pages of every day this year. And I try to go in every day and write 2 things that I won that day, as well as you've seen my Champions Day on, what I feel like is a winning day, a Champions Day, and it's all process related things. It's not results oriented. So it's things that I can quote unquote control, like getting up and working out, like texting 3 customers, clients, friends, and just saying, hey, man, I'm thankful for you. I love you. Christ loves you. Those are things that you can control that result in wins, and you build up momentum from them. So I say all that to say that I think the ultimate thing behind that are 2 things for me, and that's Christ, living the life that he made me, and hiring a business coach who can help you maybe shortcut some of those areas that you may go down. Some of us have to go down them, like me. It's like that kid. Your dad's like, hey, don't touch that stove. It's hot. But you just can't help yourself. You got to touch the daggum thing, man. And then you burn yourself and you're like, God, why didn't I just listen? But hiring a business coach that is not fake, that's real, that's actually built a business. I'm not talking about a business coach that just says I'm a business coach. I'm talking about a business coach that has built a business. It's gone through it, knows it, and you know who I'm talking about. You can talk to a person who's experienced it, and you can feel it coming out of them. Hiring a business coach to help you go through those things, and then listening and doing everything they say. Don't even think about it. Just go do it.
Take action. Take
action. I'm big about the action thing.
You are.
I love it.
You definitely are. So as we wrap up the episode here today, we have the last piece of this process in the entrepreneur process called distribution. So we like to talk about what's next. So what is next for Josh? What is next for Alliance Engineering and Consulting the rest of this year? What are some things that you guys are working on for this year and beyond?
Yeah, I mean, so the vision that we have for this company is not like any other um, that I know of in the engineering side. So I have got kind of visions that we've set out 15 years down the road. I've got them written down, but I think the main ones are this. So currently, where we're wanting to get to is, by the way, we just we brought in we just had a guy accept yesterday to come in to be like new in-house engineer, and we're adding more to the team right now. But next year, the goal is to hire a minimum of 2 college graduates right out of school and bring them in. And that is going to be our first matriculation, if you want to call it, our first class of young adults, men, women, I don't care. Mm-hmm. We want people that represent that letter, that word right there, undeniable. Mm-hmm. And bring them in and train them in our culture, not just on engineering, but on being a symmetrical person, spiritually, physically, mentally, personally, professionally, whether it's working out with us, reading books, and being just an awesome human being, and then preparing them to go start their own business through our business, whether that's a franchise model, which is kind of one of our future things, or not. We've got ideas on some proprietary software, but continuing to kind of push the envelope and change the game when it comes to not just companies, but engineering firms as well. Not stuffing them in a hole and saying, hey, this is what you're going to specialize in. Why do we have to be specialists at one thing? It's still engineering. I mean, it encompasses structural, geotechnical, transportation, water resources. I'm trying to figure out where this niche thing came from, and it came from within our own culture of engineers, where these firms wanted to get so big and have all these specialists so that they can bill. When does money become, and don't get me wrong, I like making good income, but where does it end? I mean, what are you doing as a company to help somebody become a better person?
Yeah.
That's the issue with our country too. Nobody has a purpose anymore. So giving people a purpose in their life, showing them that the mistake that I made, you don't have to make, of wasting 6-7 years of your life before you finally figure out that the world's full of it. That's not what you need to chase in your life. So that's kind of the vision that we have. Folks, I'm extremely high strung and passionate, so please forgive me, but it just pisses me off when I see somebody who has so much capability and they're not living up to it.
I couldn't agree with you more. I'm excited to see you guys go do these amazing things, go continue to take action, go impact the world, and be undeniable for Christ. And I think that just by talking with you and people listening to this episode, they are going to gain so much value and information on how to become a more motivated, more disciplined, more structured person. And I'm excited to see this come to fruition in life with what you guys are doing and the impact that you're making. So, Josh, thank you so much for coming on today's episode. Where can people connect with you online and also your guys' website?
Yeah, so website is formalliances.com. No www, just formalliances.com. Let's see, Instagram handle is, mine is J Spradlin 30. Alliance Engineering and Consulting also has an Instagram account and a Facebook account where we post regularly. My Facebook account's Josh Spradlin, but we try to stay pretty active on social media. That's another growth area where, we're probably going to boost that up. But, openly, man, we have received so much business that we're turning away customers, probably 3 to 5 a day, that come in and we're just like, sorry, we can't take you on, because that's not what we're looking for. Mm-hmm. We're wanting to hire the right people in God's timing that come to us, that meet our core values, that align with our mission statement, and grow organically and, work with customers. I mean, dude, we've got houses that are, I never thought I would see a house that's 15,000 square feet, let alone design one with a 5,000 square foot showcase, garage for their car collection. I'm just like, these houses are just insane. So we're really staying in a niche market. It's very cool, where we're taking these jobs from survey to civil site plan to structural design on the house plus inspections. But yeah, we're having to turn away business, and I really feel like it's because we've gone completely in on our core values and mission statement. We don't waver from it. And it's like I tell my kids, look, if you are just yourself and you stand for it and you stand on it and you don't wave, be that and have, let's say 5% of people love you, then be completely fake and have 90% of people like you. I want people to love me. And I want to be able to love on them. So.
That's a powerful way to end the show, and we'll put all that stuff in the show notes. That way people can connect with you after. But Josh, thanks so much for coming on, man. It was a great time.
Thankful for you, buddy. Hey, man, blessings on that baby. I will see you in May, by the way, in Vegas at the meeting.
Good, man. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see you soon. And I want to thank you again to the audience for tuning in to today's podcast. Please be sure to subscribe, download, and share our content. Leaving a 5-star review goes a long way. And we'll see you all next week. Remember, entrepreneurs aren't born, they are brewed.
I'm an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs aren't born, they're brewed. Thank you for listening to Entrepreneur Podcast with your host, Adam McChesney. Let's